welcome to Night Clerk Radio, episode 148, May New Music. And this is our last episode of May, of course, which you also know because it's the end of the month, because I completely fucked our recording schedule the first 2 weeks of this month. And then all of a sudden, you're getting a barrage. Ross, a little behind the scenes on my end, because you kind of record and then go to your own podcast and all the audio ends up on my end. And I do all the editing and releasing and whatnot. This is the third episode we've released this week, just so you know, just so we're all caught up on May. Memorial Day Monday was our Nobody Here episode dropped. Wednesday was our Patreon book club for By Now. And today, Friday, the last weekday of the month, is new music. So cramming it all in, getting it all in.
Hell yeah.
Yeah. I'm hoping next month will be better.
Yeah,
the last three, I don't know. Yeah. Last 3 months have been brutal in terms of scheduling, recording, but we're doing it. We're getting it out there.
Yeah. We got Boards of Canada to look forward to. So yeah.
That's right. Next month is Boards of Canada month. So that's motivating. Also, I don't have to make any decisions about what to talk about or what to record. So
yeah,
there's no,
it's all locked in. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
All right. So, hey, new music. I'm doing well. You're doing well. You want to do some shout outs? How do you want to do this? You want to start off?
Yeah. We'll do some shout outs. So,
okay.
My first one is a book that I read recently. It came out a while ago, but a friend mentioned it and recommended it. So I checked it out. I got an interlibrary loan. It's called Phantom Architecture. It's by Philip Wilkinson, who is an architecture historian. And it is a book detailing famous unbuilt buildings, which
cool.
Like things that have been drawn up, like a Frank Lloyd Wright skyscraper that was supposed to be like a mile high in the Corbusier's city, and then a enormous spherical monument to Isaac Newton. So imagine this is my favorite one, because imagine an enormous hollow stone sphere, like just absolutely monumental in size. And inside you have the memorial to Isaac Newton, but there are holes in the sphere that correspond to constellations. So during the day, when you go inside the sphere, it's dark except for these little pinholes that look like constellations. And then at night, they light it up from the inside so you can see the light coming out of these little holes at the top of the sphere. And obviously it was never built, but it's an interesting history of architecture from the things that wasn't, the things that weren't. Like, I learned about this whole architectural movement called metabolism, which was popular in Japan after World War II. They wanted to model cities after organic structures and roads are arteries and that kind of thing. So, and yeah, it's just heavily illustrated. Buckminster Fuller's dome over New York City is described. So he loved a good dome. Sure. It's just a neat little book.
Cool. Yeah, and shout outs to libraries. Side shout outs. Support your libraries. All right. Mine are more goofy today, I suppose. But first, my shout out is to the anti-AI Blue Sky account. A self-described anti-AI labeler. Who, through a site, which everybody knows what site I'm talking about. I don't think I'm going to mention it just in case, because I do think there's some weird ethical stuff about revealing who is blocking you and stuff, on Blue Sky, because marginalized people can block to protect themselves, and being able to, I don't know, you can draw extra ire by, if it people realize you block them or whatever. But anyway, it has the site tells you about who blocks you, who are you blocking, what lists are you on. And we're on 2 lists. We're on the AI haters subscriber, anti-AI block list. And what's funny is it's an or. So you're anti-AI or this one, which maybe they don't know what that or means. Otherwise seems poorly disposed for productive conversations, which is, if you listen to the show, completely true. I'm a completely unproductive converser. So big thanks. For the record, the other list is Pacific Plaza Records promo list. So shout out to them and thank you. But I love that we ended up, I don't even know how we ended up on an AI hater.
That's
we're not
the thing.
favorable towards it, but we've never done
that's
a militant
anti-AI
thing. Neither of us are fans of it, of course, but we've never done a fuck all AI ever forever.
Yeah, there's
or anything.
All the posts I looked on Night Clerk Radio saying are all promotional and talking about vaporwave.
I don't use it for anything other than promotions or episode corrections or addendums if I need to expand on something or do a little correction or something.
Yeah, this guy must have listened to an episode where we railed about some AI slop or something like that, and like just
made fun of slop. We did a Patreon episode making fun of like tech bros and stuff, but it wasn't really like Gen AI focused. It's very interesting. It's very funny. I love it. So I called it the duality of lists, which is one promo list and one hater list.
Yeah. So my second shout out is a YouTube visual mix from Hungry Skull, who I've mentioned before on the show. We talk about visual mixes, and this is his newest one called null.mkv. It is a psychedelic synthwave prismatic frequency. Those are the tags he used to describe it, and it's based on the visuals are from a Gmod map that is called Dream Spaces 4. It's a very trippy kind of map, and there's it's a really good playlist, a very good mix of music. It has, let's see here, Birth of a New Day in it, a bunch of artists I haven't heard of, and it's just really well done in terms of the visuals as well, because not only it's this tour through this weird source engine map, but also a lot of visual effects are done to it. It's very psychedelic. So it's just I've listened to it multiple times, and I highly enjoy it. And it's a really good mix, and I really appreciate all the work into the visuals. Like the section with the Birth of a New Day song. Well, actually, no, that's from another mix. But yeah, this is a very good mix. So
yeah, love a good mix. Mm-hmm. All right. So my second shout out, we're only doing two because I knew mine would be long, especially this one. This has like a sub shout out. So we just finished on our movie night a survey course, we'll say, of 90s erotic or trashy thrillers. So these are like your Basic Instincts, your Wild Things, et cetera, the horny borderline softcore porn they put in theaters for a bit. A lot of Baldwins, a lot of Michael Douglases. And it's just a beautiful genre because it is so weird. Mm-hmm. I think there's like I don't know. You don't want to essentialize an era too much, but like, first of all, I like looking at them because we'd gotten by that point, like really, really good at shooting on film. And I know in my head that like modern properly processed digital is like better in some way in terms of like dynamic range and stuff. Mm-hmm. But there is like something to like skin tones and contrast of like a good film stock that I really just like looking at.
Yeah.
But there's also like a content thing where you would just kind of write whatever and just make up stuff. It doesn't matter. Everything can be stupid and pointless or like factually wrong. There's no Wikipedia. like most of the screenwriters are too lazy to even go look anything up. It's just beautiful. It's just everything is nonsense. Nothing makes sense. Mm-hmm. You have like big people. You have like big names doing this stuff. You got like Friedkin doing Jade, which is like tries to be about sex cults, but is just not interesting. There's like no stakes. That's the other thing of the 90s film is like the political naivety of it, where it's like, somebody might find out the governor has a mistress. It's like, oh my God, no, not my local politicians.
And they're slightly kinky in bed. Oh my God.
Yeah. Oh my God. They do more than missionary. Ugh. So there's like that aspect of it that's very funny. I'm going to give a special sub shout out, why this is going to be longer, to Malice, the 1993 one. I think it was my favorite of the pack, despite like Basic Instinct being like the queen of that genre, because that's Verhoeven. He don't got any shame. He don't give a fuck. But that is some sleazy filmmaking. It's beautiful. It's like Showgirls, but like trying to be good instead of trying to be exploitation. They're both amazing in their own ways. But Malice is Alec Baldwin, Nicole Kidman, and Bill Pullman, where it's like this triple double crossing of people running schemes on each other. But there's just so much like weird shit in it because it's an early Sorkin script. So like Alec Baldwin is this hotshot surgeon, but he's in like cahoots with Bill Pullman's wife, Nicole Kidman. And they just buy a house, the husband and wife. But then the hotshot doctor comes up and is like, hey, I'm just a doctor, but I need an apartment. Like, I don't make enough money to buy a house in 1993 as a doctor. Can I rent an apartment from you as part of my scam that's so transparent? And like, and everyone's just like, yeah, fine. There's Tobin Bell, Jigsaw from the Saw movies. There's just a random serial killer side plot in Act 2 where like Bill Pullman is the dean of some humanities department at a named college, and his students are getting killed, which has nothing to do with the main plot.
Yep.
But it's like Tobin Bell living in the basement And Bill Pullman just kills him. Like he just finds out, he just walks down there and finds him living down there. He's like, oh, this is you've been killing my students. He's like, well, I'm going to kill you. And then Bill Pullman kills him.
He just had
and then they just move
up.
on.
Yeah.
He was doing a side quest of like fighting a serial killer so he can go fight Nicole Kidman and Alec Baldwin. It's so weird. It's so gibberish. It's so everybody just doing crazy, stupid shit that's so transparent.
No, it's
beautiful. It's like that kind of, that sort of just, I'm not going to, everything is against me. I'm not going to like research anything. It's the same energy as we always talk. I don't know if we always talked about, but like Pacific Heights, which is early 90s, Michael Keaton, Matthew Modine, where Michael Keaton is like rents an apartment, but then starts tearing it up. And they're like, Matthew Modine's like, get this guy out of my apartment. He's tearing it up. And the cop's like, sorry, once you rent something, you can do whatever you want. You have no idea how many rights the liberals in 1991 San Francisco have given the renter. And it's just becomes like this thriller. It's so fucking weird. It's so weird.
The same kind of weird mental like structure that like a Neil Breen movie has in a lot of ways. A lot of the same like kind of hang-ups and stuff like that. But like
just no idea how the world works. Just writing.
Yeah. It's very like a sheltered bourgeois view of the world where everyone's out to get you. You've been watching too many like crime shows and shit like that. You know, anything everyone's out to get you. No, they're great. It's great. Oddly enough, you know, you asked if the guy who I've talked about before, the Bad Movie Bible guy, had done something on that. So I got his email address and emailed him and asked him if he was going to do a video on it. And he's like, I actually really like to do that. 90s thrillers are great. And those erotathrons are a well-defined trend. I can't say it's about to happen, but I have thought about it. In fact, I'm going to give it some more thought right now. So maybe we'll get our own compilation of Basic Instinct knockoffs and Poison Ivy knockoffs and all those.
Yeah, Poison Ivy, Alicia Silverstone earlier.
Yeah, there were like 3 others after that were all directed video. And Skinamax, yeah. If you're a fan of weird movies and bad weird movies, mainstream Hollywood stuff that was forgotten that like did okay but wasn't lionized and wasn't like critically acclaimed, like there's tons of it out there that's super weird and eccentric, especially out of, you know, when you look at it 20 years later or 30 years later.
You know, and you may be saying like, why are you talking about this on a Vaporwave podcast? Well, it's first of all my show, but also it is like weird media detritus. It is forgotten.
It is haunted too.
Yeah. You could do a spooky late night noir-fi.
Well, it's the movies that this music, the Vaporwave, is supposed to accompany, right? Like this is the same era.
Kind of. Like if you think about forgotten media. Yeah.
Late night lo-fi is very much erotic thriller.
Yeah. And then think about taking all those people who have like sexy Vaporwave side projects and just set them like that, or noir and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird. People are very strange these days.
They are.
All right, let's do some music on our new music episode. And that was a sample from track 5, Earth Seed, off our first album today, which is Empire of Light by Cat System Core. This is a sister album, I think he calls it, to Blueberries on Mars, which we did last year. And this comes out of his desire, he said in interviews. I feel like I don't have to introduce Cat System Core. Everyone knows who they are. Runs here.
If you're listening to this podcast,
one of the primary founders of Mallsoft, early vaporwave producer, tons of great, very famous albums to the name, News at 11 and everything. Featured multiple times on the show. But I love Here Records. I think they put a lot of good stuff. So this came out of, he talks about in an interview, both in the liner notes and in issue 6 of Listen Corp. He had an interview there when that was around the time when Blueberries on Mars came out. This is this desire after did this Building a Better World collaboration with Telepath, wanting to do something a little bit different, step away from that kind of like utopian ambient and explore like other interests. So it's a series of albums based on the Hyperion Cantos by Dan Simmons, which is one of those big multi-award winning sci-fi epic series that I feel like I read part of the first one in like the mid 90s, maybe middle school, but wasn't like a very good or attentive reader at the time. It's been on my list to like revisit, kind of like a Dune or something.
Oh yeah.
But there's just a lot. I just have to make the time to sit down and do it. This album was, I think technically, I don't actually know the timing totally of Blueberries on Mars, which was like part of like this like NASA commission almost that sort of turned into this other album. Empire Light was around the same time. He actually says he finished it in 2021, but there are a lot of technical issues, corrupted files and stuff, unfortunately, so that it couldn't be released until now, until this month. This is listed as the third in the sort of these recent ambient releases. So there's Blueberries on Mars. There's the Haraith Ambient Collection. I'm assuming that's the second one, unless I totally missed a release. Then this one is kind of the third one, and they say he's going to move on to something new. And this is an interesting one for being like a Cat System Core album, because it's very dark drone ambient. Mm-hmm. It's very space ambient. It's very droney. Mm-hmm. I'm worried it might have been too droney for you, but it is like this like pensive thinking about space. It's clearly a sister album to Blueberries on Mars, but Blueberries on Mars is much brighter. I think there's more structure in a lot of those tracks, more melody, more brightness. And this is much like the darker half of that. And it actually reminded me of, it's come a long way in production techniques and skills and everything. But, you know, Cat System Core in the early 10s did have a dark ambient, drone ambient project called Mescatet. And it feels like a little bit of like revisiting that through like a new lens. So you can kind of hear, I picked maybe one of the less, in my opinion, kind of droney pieces as an opening sample, or slightly more airy, slightly more optimistic. There's a bit of a, to me, like a glow to it. There's some nature sounds. There's a bit of life. So what did you think of this album? Like my guess is it was maybe a little too droney.
Not quite. I think the thing that catches me up on drone is when there's some instrument that's prominent enough that like it's repetition, it's looping, like draws my attention and like throws me off, and like, you know, all I'm paying attention to, like, I think I mentioned this more, but like I've tried to get into dark folk, and a lot of that is just like someone on a guitar, an acoustic guitar, and it's just like every single track is dominated by an acoustic guitar, and it's like, I get it, you're at the campfire and things are bad and the woods are dark, but like, and all you have is guitar, but like, come on, give me something else. But there's enough variety in these tracks, and it is darker than Blueberries on Mars, but like there's still a lot of like gentleness and like more hopeful droning, you know, music in this. Yeah, it didn't catch me up like some drone does, because there was a lot of variety, especially between tracks. So yeah.
So that's good, because what really made me think that is track 4, The Void Which Binds, which is like, to me, very bleak and formless. It's very much like I'm just out in space. Yeah. Which is great, like for sitting in a dark room and thinking, or like working, but it's a very different to sit and, I don't know, sit at my desk with headphones and be like, I'm going to sit and think about this and think about what notes to take. And not all music has to like lend itself, of course, to that sort of taking in, but that is sort of the reality of at least one listen and prepping for the show. Yeah. You know, a lot of my re-listens to this were in the basement, like just hanging out in the basement with my dog, or like working. You know, and for that, it's beautiful. It's absolutely my jam. Obviously a huge fan of space, huge fan of ambient and drone. And I agree with you that there's just very nice, rich soundscapes, a lot of, you know, variety in like timbre. There's a lot of variety in structure and like playing with stuff. And there's tracks that get close, like what I played. And there's other tracks to me that are like very just drifting through soundscapes. So let me work in a second sample here. This is track 3, Tien Shan. And you can hear this is one of the longer tracks at 8 minutes, the longest track, actually. Mm-hmm. It does just have this whole middle section I just took from that just sort of is this nice little space soundscape. And I think if you're into that sort of ambient, that dark ambient, that drone ambient, that is like, I don't know, we have like comfort anxiety. There is like a dark utopian sort of dichotomy there or binary of some sort.
Well, sure. I think
which is maybe just synonyms of comfort and anxiety, I suppose. But yeah.
So like, you talk about track 4 being dark and unsettling. I put unsettling complimentary on there, but like it's followed by track 5, which is much more warm and gentle. Earthseed. And so like even there's a kind of like a gentle crescendo in it. Like, and so like that's the thing. If it had been the entire album had been like track 4, that would have like triggered that irritation. But like, there is that variety, and the fact that they alternate between these darker and lighter tracks speaks to that, like to where you can really just absorb the music without it pulling you out of your focus. So yeah, some of my favorite tracks actually were like track 8 because of the hissing machinery sounds. And yeah. The bells, it becomes darker and more sparse, especially in the back half. But like, I quite enjoyed that. And again, it's followed up by a lighter track, with not lighter, but like a more sci-fi cosmic kind of sound with A Planet in Tears. So like this change, these gradual shifts in sound, I think is what separates a really good drone album from like average or meh kind of album. So it's very subtle, but like, knows his stuff.
Yeah. So I think the subtleness is what I enjoyed, especially after listening to it a bunch, because there is, to me, like an arc and mood of the album, which is the other thing I always talk about setting apart any of these genres. Not that they're related, but I've also said this about like Barber Beats albums or something, where like, do you at least try to tell a story, even if you're maybe not doing the most production wise to the track? Is there like some thought to that mix? And I think dark ambient is the same way, where the ones that stand out to me have some sort of strong arc that, even if it doesn't have to be strong, but just it's communicated well enough through the arrangement of tracks, which is something I actually got out of this, because it actually starts out track 1 constructing a dream, where there is like a little bit of nature, but there's also like these big droning sounds. There's these big swelling, pulsing basses. There's all these chimes and textures and all this layering. And I feel like through track 2, 3, and 4, which we've talked about, not to belabor the point, but each one gets maybe, to me, like a little more dark ambient, a little bleaker, a little darker, a little losing a little bit of form each way. And then 5, Earthseed, the opening sample, and the one you commented on, comes back to be a little more airy. Nature kind of comes back. It's a bit more optimistic. And then through there, it sort of builds up. So track 6, Heart of the Machine, there's like all these pulsing synths. And to me, they're like almost flirting with the idea of having a melody, but don't quite like have, and when I say having a melody, I mean like having like a melodic hook or a line or something, but they start to introduce some structure. And there's like these little hints of it. And there's all these like synths and oscillators and stuff going there. Really cool. Track 7, Return to Thalassa, which I said is like wondrous, but still kind of formless, but it's like much more undulating. There's these big slow, I'm guessing like LFOs or something, and like not many chord changes, but it's one of those tracks where it just sort of washes over you. It's like this formless soundscape that just kind of flows. You already talked about Planet in Tears, which I totally lost. And listening to it again, I actually don't know why I wrote this, but I had a joke note to myself, which is Ross is going to say Vangelis and I'm going to quit the show. But you actually didn't. I don't know why. A little joke to myself at 2 a.m. probably is when I wrote that.
Yeah, the hissing machinery did not like really stood out.
No, I thought that I don't know. Like I had in my head that there was like something a little CS80 adjacent, but like on subsequent listens, it wasn't really there. But I left the remark to myself to remind myself that I'm an idiot. And then track 9, New Enlightenment, which I actually think is much brighter in chord and timbre. And like, there's like some kind of return or arrival. So there is this arc of getting darker and then coming back out, which I really liked. And like a lot of albums don't bother to do that. You notice it when they do.
Yeah. Yeah.
So
it's a great, like, again, the differences between a really great drone album and like an average one are very subtle, but like once you've listened to it, you can really pick it up. And I think this showcases what a great drone album should be.
Yeah. I completely agree. I've really liked all 3 of the ambient albums that he's done, but the liner notes kind of explicitly say that this is the third and last. Yeah, it's the last installment of Cat System Core's ambient projects, this one being the darkest of them all. I agree. Yeah, keeping some of that Corp sound in there. A new side project is on the horizon. So I really like what they make. I think they're really good at it, obviously, and continually improving. And I'm just super excited to see what they do next.
That is a sample from track 1, Metamorphosize, from Philosophie du Soi, or Philosophy of the Self, by PAON, which is French for peacock, a new jazz fusion duo, which is also tagged with ambient, avant-garde, cinematic, electronic, and jazz rock, and narrative, and spiritual jazz, and all kinds of... So remember Persona and how that pioneered a genre of music? Well, it's back as a standalone thing.
No. Guy who's only listened to Persona.
I found the algorithm on YouTube recommended me visual version of the album, and I listened to it multiple times. That opening in track 1 really hooked me because I am a sucker for the soundtrack for the original Ghost in the Shell film, and this reminded me of that multiple like haunting vocal chorus. I love it, but it's very high energy French fusion jazz. This is a new group, by the way. The singer is Pernell, known for her work as a vocalist in the video game industry, so working on multiple video game soundtracks like Stellar Blades, Outer Worlds 2, and she teamed up with a composer, Lem, who also worked on video games, including Hatsune Miku, Project Diva, Arcade, Sega 7th Dragon, Soul Knights, and so they're wanting to make music that like sounds like it should be in a high energy Japanese video game, but it's not. It's just its own music. And so it's this very interesting, jazz fusion. There's a little bit of like glitchy EDM music in it. There's a little bit like kind of like punk kind of singing moments, and it does turn ambient in sections. It kind of, calms down for a little bit. It gets very operatic at moments. And so, it's just very fun to listen to. And I listened to it multiple times, and it's like, this is a new album. We should just review this on Night Clerk. It's a little outside of vaporwave, but haunted by video game soundtracks. It almost sounds like one of these concept albums we've listened to that was like a soundtrack for a game that didn't exist. I love the variety of instruments. Each track is extremely different, very spacey, very sci-fi. So I loved it. What'd you think, Bert?
Oh yeah, I liked it. So I mean, this sort of contemporary jazz fusion, something I like a lot of. It's interesting because in terms of actual instruments, the credits only really list Pernell as doing vocals and flute. So I don't know. I assume then, I don't know if all the bass is Lem or if it's all programmed. Now the bass and drums. But it's very hip, very, very hip avant-garde jazz fusion. A lot of like odd or giving the appearance of odd time signatures by being so heavily syncopated and grouped that even if you're like technically in 4, you're kind of playing around conventional, like strong and weak beat patterns so much that it feels odd time, feels busy. It's a great counterpick, I think, to my album, which is like you go from long space drone to short frenetic jazz EP. But like you said, it still does have little bits of ambient, which they allude to, both tracks 2 and 4, both which are Mirage, Ego, and the Vacuum Zone. The Vacuum Zone, sous vide is
right
like
next
under
to the Phantom Zone.
Vacuum.
Yeah.
I guess so. It's interesting. This is an algo recommendation for you. I thought maybe it came out of her work in video games, either hers or Lem's, that maybe you knew about it or had
No, I've not played any of the games they mentioned. I don't actually play that many Japanese video games.
Well, Outer Worlds 2, I was thinking.
Oh, yeah. I played the first one.
I only played the first one. I didn't play the second one, but
But yeah, it's also the YouTube version of this has captions that will have the English translation of the lyrics. And the lyrics are quite abstract at times. The "Let us praise beneath these hollow skies," the blissful nothingness. This is a track for one of the void. And yeah, it's quite interesting to see incredibly vivid artistic, like veering on like surrealism or abstraction in terms of like its presentation and style, but taking a little bit of everything and putting it really is jazz fusion. Like again, like track 3 is extremely glitchy EDM focused, and the singing becomes more rock or punk kind of focused, especially in the back half of the track. But then, she has a huge range. She could do this operatic kind of singing too. And one thing I also appreciate, this is only a 24-minute album. Like it's an EP, not like
it's an EP.
Yeah. So it doesn't overstay its welcome, but yeah, and no filler tracks. Every single one is a banger. So yeah.
The ambient bangers. Yeah, no, I know what you mean. Yeah, I think the ambient tracks are interesting, but to me, the best part of this is like the drum and bass work, which is why I wanted to know if it was somebody playing it or if it was programmed. Not that it matters. I don't have like some purity argument of like, if somebody's playing it, it's better, because it's nice either way. I just really liked a lot of that like modern playing around with syncopation and structure. And then like track 1, I'm trying to think if track 3 has it, but track 1 has like these little bits where they go back to like more classic jazz drum work, which are nice grounding. Part of me almost wonders if it almost feels, I don't think it's the intent, of course, but it almost feels like ironic in a way to have like these big, long, busy, not clear where one is sort of parts, and then do like 15 seconds of content, like classic swing, and then go back into it. I would say the other thing about this is I wish my French was better. I haven't done French in, I don't know, 30 years probably at this point. Well, maybe more like 25. So it's not good, but I do wish I sort of had a better sense of what the lyrics are, because I do, from the music and the construction of the album, I do get that there's like a strong narrative aspect to this. I mean, not just because it comes up in like interviews about this, but it does feel, you mentioned like some anime soundtracks. It does feel like there's a story being told there. I just don't know exactly what it is. Yeah. Because I don't speak the language anymore. You can
read along on the YouTube captions, but
do they have English captions on YouTube? I only checked it out on Bandcamp.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
It's pretty interesting. They even use like a medieval font in some of them for some reason. Like he wanders, but the impact of the knell of the paradoxes is a strangely exalting suffering. Like it's it's and then that is from track 3. So why don't we play a bit of that so you can hear the glitchy EDM I was talking about. Yeah, it's green fog inside a chained body. It's kind of weird that they don't have the English translations in the Bandcamp page.
Maybe they do on the song page. I'm bad at No, they just have the French lyrics. It's fine.
Yeah,
I mean, it's a good practice to relearn my French.
There you go.
It's one of those things where I would like to pique my curiosity. I want to see what they do next.
Yes.
See if they bust out some big 80-minute prog concept album, because there is a lot of this. Not just in the band name, but in like a lot of the visuals. There's a lot of this peacock imagery. There's references to like metamorphosis and reality and boundaries between conscious and unconscious, etc. So yeah, it'd be cool if they do like a big old school, bring back the big 80-minute like prog album.
Ooh, yeah.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Give me the big double album that's
making a statement.
Yeah. That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
So yeah, I would be really interested to see what their next move is. They've released a couple of music videos on their YouTube channel, but yeah, I don't know what the follow-up is going to be. But again, if you like stuff that definitely sounds like video game soundtrack inspired, but it's original, it's just a fun, energetic album to listen to.
Yeah.
It's easy to get through.
It is roughly tied because there's also in some interviews they reference it as space jazz, although that's not. It's under the Bandcamp tag, so it's not real. But so we got the duality of space, perhaps. I don't know.
Yeah, there's a little like especially in track 1, like the reverb of the singing kind of makes it sound more spacey.
That's true. Yeah, I was trying to think of like the ambient tracks and stuff too, like these soundscapes.
Yeah,
it's very cool. Yeah, good find. Thank you.
Yeah. The YouTube comics are pretty fun for this one. What genre do you listen to? Oh, there's this channel that makes Ghost in the Shell choir, math rock, jazz core, Jujutsu Kaisen soundtrack, cowboy bebop music with some sauce of Persona on the top. Get into Bulgarian wedding music and you'll understand how deep that particular vocal rabbit hole goes, talking about the Ghost in the Shell kind of vocal at the beginning of track 1 that we listened to earlier. There's a Japanese group, Gano Yamashiragume, is also worth looking up if you like that kind of vocal work. They are a Japanese music collective that's been around since the 70s. I looked them up. They did the soundtrack for Akira. Haunting vocals in that. And they're still around. I mean, obviously it's a collective, so quite a few changes in who's playing or whatever, but it's that same style. Pretty interesting stuff. So yeah, it's a whole thing, that style of singing. And this is a good little gateway into it, I guess. So, but yeah, it's fun. And it's great summer music, I think.
Thank you so much for listening. As always, it's fun to go out and find new music, bring it back, share it. Let us know what you're listening to. Call to action, listeners. What are you out to? What are you up to? What's your summer tracks? Next episode starts, kind of alluded to this at the intro, but it's Boards of Canada month. They have their first album in like 13 years or whatever coming out. I think the day this releases, perhaps, or just around that time. So we're going to do a little retrospective on, I think, one of our favorite groups. We're going to do part 1 of Boards of Canada month, which is the next episode. We'll be looking at their previous releases. And then June new music will be Inferno, the new album. So that'll be fun. Like I said on the last episode, it's funny that we've never talked about them. I know why. Just because of, rigid views of the show, but it'll be great. It'll be great to get into them in some detail. It's fantastic.
So I'm looking at the Boards of Canada Inferno Wikipedia page, which has like advanced review quotes. Clash 9 out of 10, Uncut 9 out of 10, Music OMH 5 stars, The Guardian 2 stars.
Yeah, fuck them. Okay.
This album's dubious interrogation of religion and jury drum program describes Boards of Canada similar to cult leaders in that they are impressive, even charismatic figures with a dubious amount of substance. They should put that on the album cover.
Cool.
Yeah.
Why not?
I'm more excited than ever to listen to this album.
Yeah. Oh man, I love a bad review. Yeah. We can get into that more in the episode. But man, I love reading. I mean, this is contemporary, but I love reading old bad reviews of stuff that have aged poorly. Ooh. Like Roger Ebert being like, "The Thing is dumb. No one will ever care about The Thing. It's the worst movie ever." I'm like, okay, buddy.
Oops.
Okay. But hey, if you like what we do, you want to hear more of it, always say we have a Patreon, Nightclerk Radio at patreon.com. We will be this month and next wrapping up our Buy Now book club. We've been talking about Michael Brown's book on eyeliners Buy Now. It's been super fun to do that for a couple months. I'm scared of having to think of topics again in July.
We'll figure it out. I believe.
We'll figure it out. We'll survive.
Yeah.
Just book clubs from here on out. It's easy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure people love that. But yeah, Nightclerk Radio at patreon.com. If that's what you're into. You can also find us largely at Blue Sky, Ross Payton at Blue Sky, Nightclerk Radio at Blue Sky. We're on like a bunch of other social media that I forget to look at. Mm-hmm. My apologies. Websites, Gmails, whatever works for you. Wherever you do choose to check us out, take a moment, hit the like, hit the dislike. There's some guy on YouTube. Well, I shouldn't say it's a guy. There's somebody on YouTube. Thumbs downs every episode. I don't know if it's the same person, but I assume it is. In my head, it is. Maybe it's the anti-AI guy.
Probably, yeah.
Maybe
that's how he found it.
Maybe.
Yeah.
That's how he found out about us. But it does help. You know, we always say go out, build community, talk to people, make friends, make frenemies, enemies, whatever works for you, and share some great new music with them. So once again, thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you next time. Bye.
Bye.